Okay. Now, for a special treat, actor Thomas Lennon and his editor, Maggie Lehrman, will share some insights into Thomas's new novel, Ronan Boyle and the Bridge of Riddles. They have had such a great time at TLA After Hours that they agreed to stay for an encore, except no band. Please join me in welcoming them back to the TLA stage.
It's all right. Give him a minute.
Hey, Maggie. Oh, hi. I'm on the thing. Hi. I'm sorry. I was trying to FaceTime in also because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it to the event. Hi, guys. Hi. But are we sure we want to do the morning thing? Because it seems like it's going to be a lot of just hungover librarians, which feels like, I don't know if it's the right room for me. I noticed a lot of the librarians were real touchy last night with me when we did the other event. I got a lot of kind of Uncle Joe Biden kisses and hugs and people rubbing my belly for luck. So I guess, well, let's pass on the morning thing.
Tom,
Yeah.
we're actually already here, so...
We're already going?
Yeah, and your mic's on.
My mic is on?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta leave the Zoom meeting, hang on. I was almost on Zoom, you guys. It was gonna be such an amazing bit.
It was gonna be really funny.
It was gonna be so funny. Here was the bit. It was like, oh, I'm on Zoom and I didn't come to the event. Then I'm already at, guys. We didn't nail it. You can't always nail it.
Yeah, we tried.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi. Come on.
Let me turn this off. Hi, you guys. Good morning. Oh, cool. We're doing sign. Hi, guys. Hi. Oh, hi, my friends. Hi.
So Tom, hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having us again, everybody. Hopefully there's some people who weren't here last night because I'm just gonna ask the same questions.
Same questions.
Yeah.
Great. Let's see if I remember the answers to them.
Yeah. So I'm your editor, as you know.
But you're also an author. You've
That's-
actually written more books than me. Maggie's written 2 books. Her last book is called The Last Great Story.
Last best story.
And this is what our relationship is like. I say something brilliant, and then she changes it. Yeah,
Basically.
it's the best. Okay, so her book, which she told me I had to plug when I came out. No. She was really adamant about it. She was like, you want this to work? She's like, this is a big deal. It's a TLA. I'm like, okay. Her book is called Last Fun Story. And...
So Ronan Boyle and the Bridge of Riddles
My
is
book.
the book
Thank
that
you very
you
much.
wrote.
Yes.
And it's absolutely hilarious. And I feel like people know you as an actor, and you're also a screenwriter. I mean, you are.
When you wrote the movie Herbie Fully Loaded, you have to go like this when someone says that you're a screenwriter, because otherwise it's a slightly false advertising. Yeah.
So what made you want to write a book?
I'd wanted to write a novel probably ever since I read Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Woo.
And funny detail, I was briefly going to play Ford Prefect in the movie. I was like, for 3 months, I was going to be Ford Prefect in the film of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But of course, as always happens in my career, I lost the role to Mos Def.
Oh.
Totally true story. So as a young boy, I really loved that, and then I loved the work of like Kurt Vonnegut and such, and I always wanted to write a novel that would be a sort of a humorous fantasy novel, and it just took 30 years to do it. So yeah. But yeah, and I also wanted to write something that sort of honored my Irish heritage a little bit, and got to incorporate lots of Irish mythology and things like that. So
Yeah, all the creatures, we talked about this last
Lots of
night, but
magical
they're all
creatures.
real Irish myths that you
they're
kind of drew
all
upon.
real. Whether some of them are extinct, like unicorns, obviously, who we haven't had since the 50s. Yeah, so the book is about, it's a young boy, he's 14.
I like how you're telling me as if I haven't
Yeah,
read
I'm pitching it to you.
Yeah. All of you.
I pitched it to you one time and you said, great, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, no, I didn't pitch it to you. You read the book.
I read it,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was
Which is,
hilarious.
not all of your editors will read the book these days, guys. Sometimes they just look at coverage and pass. The book's about an intern in the Galway police, the Garda, which is what the Irish version of the police department. And he gets recruited. He happens to fit through a hole in a castle that leads down into an oubliette, or for my French friends, oublié, where a leprechaun has stashed a changeling, which is when leprechauns sometimes will steal a human baby and replace it with a log.
Intricately carved.
Intricately carved,
Yeah.
with a face of what kind of looks like a baby. But
Yeah.
I should point out the leprechauns in the book are absolutely awful.
Yes.
Yeah, we were starting to get into a world where people think that leprechauns would leave candy in your shoes. That is not true. Leprechauns don't leave things. Leprechauns take things. Yeah, excuse me, 1 second. But I say in the book, I say if a leprechaun could steal the nose off your face and replace it with a turnip and make a single euro from doing it, they would do that. Yeah.
Great. So is there anything in particular that has surprised you about writing a book compared to your other ventures?
This is going to sound like I'm kissing up to you because you're my editor and you're in charge of all my books. Maggie's, how do I say this? You're probably the smartest person I've ever met.
No.
And which is weird because I consider myself an off-the-charts genius. I'm obviously a very stable genius. And so then when I met Maggie, I was like, oh, this is weird because you're clearly smarter than me. Maggie went to Harvard, blah, blah, blah. She wrote a book called Last, a Hap Bunny Story or something like that. The thing that surprised me the most was how, in the movie business, sometimes the notes that you get on a script will be things like this, like, I'll bring it up again, I don't know why I'm harping on this, I wrote the movie Herbie Fully Loaded. Thank you. There's generally a long applause break when I introduce that people. Next year, when I give this same speech. But one of the notes that we got from the executive who was in charge of the film for the Walt Disney Company said, great, this is a great scene. Herbie comes in, does something funny with Lindsay Lohan, and it's all great. And she said, at the end of the scene, Herbie the love bug will smile. To which I said, I have no idea, how could that happen? Herbie can flash his lights, he can do his wipers, he can go beep, beep, and he can open a door or his hood or trunk, but he's not a liquid metal transformer who can just go like, you know, and smile. That would mean he's like the devil has taken over Herbie. That's a terrifying thing. So we said, no, you know what, we're not gonna make the car smile. Not gonna do that. And then what happened was we were instantly fired. Went home, got a call, you're fired off of Herbie Fully Loaded because you would not make the car smile. And then not only does Herbie smile in the movie, the poster for that film is Lindsay Lohan leaning on Herbie, the love bug, and Herbie's got a huge smile on his face, which haunts me like the telltale heart. So the kind of notes I've been used to getting in the movie business are things like, what if the love bug smiles at Lindsay Lohan?
Right.
Or does the monkey pee on Ben Stiller enough? I wrote the Night at the Museum films. I should have clarified that before I said that.
Yeah. Oh, you got an applause break for that one.
There was a brief applause break. But then, oh yeah, that movie almost didn't happen because Ben Stiller didn't want to wear a hat.
What?
Yeah. So this is what the movie business can be like sometimes. He had a guard hat. And every time he would think about quitting the job, he would go back and take the hat and put it back on, and it became like a sort of symbolic totem that he was going to try and make it work. And we kept hearing, like, you've got to cut the hat. And we're like, but we love the hat. And they're like, well, then Ben's not going to do the movie because of the hat.
Right.
Yeah. So those are some pretty dumb
So
notes.
books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason I went to books
Yeah.
is then I came over and I met you, and you said, hey, this book should have a plot.
I had a
So
real vision.
That's
I had
a
vision.
better, that was just objectively and subjectively a better note. Like no one said like, hey, this book needs to have a hat or not. Yeah.
Right.
So
He does have a hat. It's a
he does
beret.
have a hat.
It's
And we had a huge
adorable.
fight about it.
Wait, I don't think so. Was
No,
that a
you were on
fight?
my side. You were on my
Yeah.
side about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, it's the best possible relationship I could have with an editor. I think you should always show your work to someone a lot smarter than you who's going to be super critical. So she seems nice now, but sometimes there's like zingers when I get the new draft of like when she's done her notes in the script, there'll be like little like, we really doing this or something like that. It's always fun. But you get they're a little snarky sometimes.
Really?
A tiny bit. There's just like a little touch of Harvard spin on them.
Oh.
Yeah. But it makes me better every time you give me notes on a book. On the new book, it's like your first note, which was I don't like the title.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even me though. I just know it's a bad
Oh, so
title.
now you're just deferring to, yeah.
I'm saying the world is.
The
Anyway.
world is not going to like that title. Yeah, you're right. She had a better title. She makes me better at everything we do. Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
that's true.
Yeah, it's been an
Don't
absolute
applaud her.
pleasure.
Don't applaud her.
I think
She's
someone
fine.
who wants to take the notes and collaborate on it, I think that's like the best thing
do.
that could happen.
I want to take 95% of your notes,
Yeah, that's a lot.
and then really fight you hard on the other 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been here talking to librarians, and you've been on tour meeting a lot of kids. Is there anything that you feel like after meeting the kids that you're going to take into book 2 and book 3? There's going to be a book 2 and a book 3.
Kids on
by
the
way.
tour have asked me great questions.
Yeah.
A lot of kids I found out on the book tour really love unicorns.
Yeah, unicorns are big now.
Yeah, which is just historically inaccurate. Why would you have a horn like that if not to poke little things like leprechauns to death? They have a really adversarial relationship. Most of the mythical creatures of Ireland, if you run into, they don't mean well. No, they're not there to make your breakfast hilarious. They're there to turn you into a waterfall or something like that. So kids have asked great questions. Why am I mad at unicorns, obviously,
Right.
has been a big one. Do I live in a mansion was a big question that kids asked. The answer is not compared to Eddie Murphy. It's the best answer I could give to that.
Yeah.
A lot of kids, there was a girl in Missouri who wanted to know what Zac Efron smelled like. Yeah.
And there's
The answer is like a combination of sandalwood and success. You know? You're gonna fall a little bit in love no matter what happens, yeah.
Sure. Great. What else is going on? So,
In a minute I have to
We-
Skype into another convention.
yes.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah, we only found out we were doing this last night, so
know,
this
it's
is
fun.
I
That
only
was all
have
your
4
questions.
questions. That's it.
Oh.
Well, I have one more.
I'm not gonna answer that.
Okay.
I gave you 30 years of my career. That was gonna be like an R. Kelly interview joke, but we didn't. I didn't nail the impression is why it didn't work. You just have to commit to these things.
Yeah.
Let's let the signer catch up. It was a weird joke. It didn't land.
It's okay.
It's
We're
an
gonna
early
recover.
morning, guys.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
early.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
everyone's gonna go do their sessions
Right.
and see the exhibits, and they're just gonna remember that they laughed.
Yeah, of course. What's the real name of your book?
It's the last best story, but I really am not here to talk about that.
Well, you plugged it 3
Rowan-
times. My God, we get it.
Ronan
I get
Boyle
it.
and the Bridge of
Bridge
Riddles.
Riddles.
I
Made
ha-
number 2 on the New York Times bestseller
That's right,
list.
number 2 New York
This
Times
was
bestseller.
a lot of kids, I wanted to explain to children around America on this tour I've been on what it feels like when you wait your whole life to get on the New York Times bestseller list. And the answer is, and I told the kids, I looked them right in the eye and I said, it feels like nothing. Get ready to be a grown-up.
Oh.
That's not true. You called me when I made the New York Times bestseller list. Yeah. I was at Rite Aid buying a huge thing of paper towels. And I think I told the guy at the Rite Aid.
Good.
And he said something like, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Like the way someone would when you said like, hey, I got a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to ask my last question because I wrote it.
I'm not going to answer it, whatever it is.
Right. I find this book absolutely hilarious. I've read it many times now. I have two favorite characters.
Yes.
Do you know who my two favorite characters are?
I think I do. Can I guess them?
Yes.
One is probably Log McDougal.
It is Log.
Log McDougal is a character, Ronan's best friend, in the special unit of Tirnanog, the fairy police force. She was, as a child, stolen by leprechauns, and because leprechauns drink too much, they forgot to bring her back to humans, so they raised her as a leprechaun in the land of the fairy folk.
Right.
So she's got some special powers. She can talk to animals. She can hide for days or months or years. She has
very
super
strong.
strength. Yeah, she can hold people in wedgies for weeks at a time. And I think I know who your other character is, your other favorite character. Because it's a very elusive character in the book.
Yeah.
Who's never, it's not Brian Bean, is it?
No.
I think it's Brian Bean. There's J.K. Rowling took like 4 or 5 books before she killed off a main character. I do it in book 1.
Yeah. Just like as an aside.
As an aside.
Yeah.
Like, you meet this kid, Brian Bean.
He's very charismatic.
He's charismatic.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's got big ears like pretzels. Dead on
Immediately.
like page 55. You'll see why though. There's a caveat
he's still
to that.
around.
Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah.
But your other favorite character is Tim the medium-sized bear?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
There's a character in the book. There's a character in the book called Tim the medium-sized bear, and I wish I could describe him more than that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one knows why he's there.
Uh-huh.
No one knows if he's another student at the school, if he's a magical creature.
Yeah.
If he's just a bear.
Yep. So I did have I guess, is there any part of the book that feels particularly personal to you that is your favorite?
The whole book, everything in the book, as much as I joke about it, it's the best, it's the thing I'm most proud of my whole life. And thank you. Ronan, every aspect of Ronan is just based on some aspect of my own life. So his parents are museum people. My dad worked at the Art Institute of Chicago for 45 years. He's got food allergies. He's got a ton of social anxiety, which I have, even though you can't tell right now because I overcompensate a little bit. He has fictional conversations with Dame Judi Dench, which is something I like to do. His relationship with Captain Siobhan De Valera, who runs the special unit, is based on my relationship with Kate Bush when I was 14. I don't think Kate Bush is aware of this yet. Probably never will be. But it's really just like my life story told with funny, magical Irish creatures in it. So, yeah.
And it's been a real pleasure to work on.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for writing it.
Thank
and
you.
I'm excited for everyone to get to read it and
thank
read
you
the next one.
making it good, because it was
already good.
It was amusing, but it wasn't number 2 bestseller list stuff. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Stand up. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thanks you two for sharing more of your time with us. We are thrilled to have started our day both inspired and doing one of the best parts of TLA, having a lot of fun. So we thank Abrams and Thomas and Maggie for sticking around this morning. And we also especially want to thank Houghton Mifflin Harcourt for sponsoring Sylvia Acevedo. And you can't know how sad we all were when we heard her flight had been canceled, but we just didn't want to miss having the opportunity to share her special message with you. So thank you all for your support this morning. Now, go have a wonderful day. Thank you.